This was probably the most eventful week in men's physique that we've had all year. So I do want to jump into breaking down some of the things and, of course, go over Cutz's legendary season. But before we get into that, I want to introduce a new host to the podcast.
Oh,
It's not Chris, but instead,
damn.
Let's go.
it's fucking
Oh,
happening,
wow.
fellas. It's
Let's
happening.
Wow.
It's
That's why he was
go.
happening.
asking all these kid
I did
questions.
not expect that. I'm like, who's he putting
Let's
on now? I
go.
did not know that. Congrats, man.
Bro.
That's awesome. You did it finally.
And
Hey, so
Time for us to
obviously,
prep, Alex.
it's,
that's
There
what I
you
was
go.
gonna
That's
ask.
out of
How
the
do you do
bag,
it?
too.
I wanted to first say this. I wanted to have Ariel on for a special reason, not to go over just his season, but for those who don't know, it was very early on when Ariel helped guide me through the beginning stages. He's again not he, just as a friend, the beginning stages of finding out what do I need to do, what's the proper protocols, and honestly allowing me to pick his brain because he has been through it himself. And it was at such a most sensitive time for me because I just got out of a doctor's appointment that they looked me in my eyes and told me that the chance of you having a baby is slim to none. So when that happened, went to Ariel and he helped kind of clear my mind and I got things moving. So I wanted to have him on. Thank you for that, man, because I did not expect this moment anytime soon. Anytime soon.
Congrats, dude.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
That's huge.
Uncle Drew, Uncle Chris,
Yes, sir.
and
That's
I,
wild.
and I also was really hoping, I know Aaron couldn't make it, but I wanted to have him on this episode too, but to thank him too. Just seeing him as a father more than anything motivated me and made me realize how important it is to slow down in order to
Yeah.
speed up. So it's special, man. I wanted to tell you guys before you guys just see it on social media.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But
No, I did not expect that. That's awesome.
it's
When'd you find out? When'd you find out?
I found out on Mother's Day. I found out on Mother's Day, so it's been a little while. But we just got out of the first trimester, so we're at that 14 week out mark. So things are good, things are healthy. We've had multiple doctor's appointments. So I've been all over the place over the last couple of months. Emotions extremely high, almost like feeling like this too good to be true.
Yeah.
Because, bro, when I tell you, and any bodybuilder who has gone through this can understand it. I talked to Sadiq about this, Jeremy about this. My numbers were so low. I'm talking for those who know 1.5 million. The normal, they say, okay, your decent ranges now is 20 million. So I was so low on the charts to the point that's what the doctor saw where they said 0 to no chance. And it happened during that time. So I'm telling you this much. Jeremy Buendia said something to me that stuck to me more than anything. Never let another man play God. So when he said that to me, it recalibrated everything. It made me realize that that doctor is saying things based off of his previous experience, and I get that, I respect that, but he's not going to be the one to pull the trigger when it's time, right?
Jeremy Bundia said that to you?
Jeremy Buendia said that to me, so I
So
went.
he had a similar problem.
Yep, yep. Same thing. I talked to him about it, talked to Sadiq about it. They gave me their advice, their guidance, and it made me feel significantly better. There was really three, four people, but three people I would say who really helped me get through that mentally. It was Cutz, it was Sadiq, and it was Jeremy. And those people, those advice they gave me is everything. And I wouldn't
Yeah,
be,
you're gonna have to teach me the secret because I've
yeah,
been going through it for 4 or 5 months now, so
yeah,
I
yeah.
need the advice.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I feel like this isn't a topic that's talked about a lot. How many people are going through, that experience? And even though it was 8 months, it felt like 8 years. It felt like an eternity because in that moment, I felt embarrassed. I felt, emasculated. I felt bad for my wife, because she's sitting here hearing all of these things, and she didn't choose bodybuilding, right? And let's be real, a big part of the reason why this 8 months took place was because of bodybuilding. So,
Hey, Alex, if you don't mind me asking, what was the place that you went to get tested up there in Tampa?
I think it was called like Brown. I'll send you all the information.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll take care of you, bro. I'll send you everything that they sent me. I kind of just compiled it all together.
'Cause we don't have one around here. That's the problem. So we have to go up there. Like, there's nothing in the Sarasota area for that.
Bro,
So I
have you ever
just
get have you ever get you have you ever given a semen analysis?
did. it's going to be exactly the same as yours.
Bro, you never know what you're expecting. It's weird because they know, like you go in there for a reason. Like they know what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and you know they know. So like you get the cup, like you walk back, it's this little room, bro. They got magazines.
They don't know what I'm into, baby. I'm bringing my own.
Bro, so I've been to two facilities. Do you know what they did? At one facility, they had a chair, right? That was just up and down. Just a normal chair. Like, but another one had like the lean back one. So I'm thinking like, do guys do that shit? Just sitting down like that?
And it
Hey,
makes
I
you
got a
not
good
want to
story.
sit in it because you don't know what
Hey.
happened in there.
Ah,
I have a story. One of my best friends, how he does it. We always joke around, but he always told us how he did it. And he gets on his hands and knees and he leans over his bed. Okay. So whenever it comes to guys doing weird things, there are people, you're right, that have to be in a certain position that they got to do the business.
yeah,
So,
I get
Hands and knees.
yeah, he's on his
It's
knees
like the
on the ground.
receiver position.
that.
Yep. Yep.
But it's crazy, man.
Wonder how you figure that out. Is one day you're just like this is feels comfortable. This is what I'm gonna do. And then doing that somewhere, like I don't know, doing one of those analysis tests, like you're just gonna go on the floor or something. I mean,
Bro, it's weird, man. Like,
it's already uncomfortable to begin with, and then you're just,
Yep.
no, bro. And then you gotta walk out of the room with the cup. You still see the same people you just saw. Was the only difference.
it's like not that much, and you're like, you think
Yeah.
everybody's judging you, like, look at this guy.
Bro, I'm sitting there. I'm like, there's no fuck. I gotta make this shit look more fun.
That's crazy.
Oh
man.
man. But yeah, man, I'm
Well, it's
excited.
all done with. It works. So
It works.
I'm happy for you, man. That's awesome. That's an awesome thing to hear. And I did not expect this. I know none of us really did, but that's awesome, man. And Ariel being able to help you out with it, and Sadiq and Jeremy, I think that's super big, man. Just being a part of bodybuilding. A lot of people having the same thing. Like you said, you're emasculated and sometimes it affects you. And, your wife didn't choose this. She just chose you and supported what you chose. So, congrats to the both of you. It takes two to tango. So congrats to both of you. And now she's gonna, have a fun next 9 months, and you're gonna see how it is and kind of know what Ariel goes through and what Aaron has gone through, and all the other fathers out there that are competing. So it's a new level, man. You got a new part of your life now. So happy
man.
for you.
I feel blessed, bro. I just don't know what else to say at this point. Like it was so far in the back of my mind for so long that the fact that it's here like now, bro. When she told me, it was the biggest surprise. You know what? Maybe I'm about to play that video for you guys.
She made a video. That's
bro.
Cool.
I thought he was going to show us like a semen analysis video.
Just the fact that there would be a video of that, I'd question a lot.
Standing up, bro. I'm telling you, it was an emasculating thing. All right, let me send this to myself. But bro, what I mean, it was so far in the back of my head that I didn't even think that this was a possibility. So when she called me out, into the kitchen, I didn't know why the hell she was calling. I didn't know what was going on. Bro, when she showed that to me, you're gonna hear like just what pure emotion.
So she hid the camera on you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you'll see it too, because
you had no expectation, huh? There was never a sign from her, just kind of you were trying. And
the good thing is she told me like basically the same day.
Oh yeah, I don't know how she'd be able to hold that in, man. That would be crazy.
Yeah. All right, let me pull this up. Bro, it's scary.
If my girl was able to hold that in for more than like a day or two, I'd question so many other things.
Yeah, like how, like if you can hold that in, like what else? And like that's
Yeah. All right, let me pull this bad boy up. What the fuck is it?
Yeah, that's exciting, man. Wow. I did not expect that.
And now I can grow. And now I can like turn it off season, put on some
We
muscle.
got to anticipate the gender reveal. So that's
nice. That's coming. Oh yeah, what vibe do I give off? Let me ask you guys that first. Like, is this a boy, girl?
Female all the way.
I think female, because there's a lot of statistics that will say when
is that the vibe I give off?
I mean, well, it's no, I don't think it's the vibe you give off. I just think bodybuilders, majority that have elevated tests for a long period of time, I think there is something in your body chemically that defaults majority to women or females.
All right, can you guys see this?
Yeah, we're good.
I can't see anything.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Are you on like a gallery view? Can you see?
Okay, I can see it now. I can see it.
You're gonna hear some like emotion, the raw stuff. No.
Oh man, it's gonna make me emotional.
That's crazy.
Oh,
Bro, I haven't lost it. Are you serious?
man,
Look at me. I'm like,
I never seen you act like that. It's awesome, man.
Even the dogs are happy.
bro, you know,
Yeah.
Dogs know too.
Yep.
oh my
Yep.
God.
Oh.
All right. I'll see.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. All right.
Oh,
All the sappy shit. Let's get that over with. Let's talk about some bodybuilding.
that's,
Yeah, man. It's hard to transition topics, huh? But
They're
yeah.
very serious like that. Yes.
yeah, man. But now we focus on 2026.
Wait, I got a question, Alex.
Yeah.
So you think the protocol worked?
Yeah. I think it was a combination because my numbers, remember, at 0. I started that protocol and they gave me a possibility. And then
Yeah.
from there, I mean, that's when it had to have happened. It was just the smallest, bro. And I mean, like the little swimmer that could, like,
All you need is one.
yeah,
All you need, man.
bro.
One strong one.
Yeah,
Strongest one.
Yeah.
it was something. All right, let's go over. I want to go over the Chicago Pro because I want to get Drew's thoughts on the placings. We had Dan on last week. He broke down kind of what his game plan was. Now, I did think he made a pretty good switch to his physique, I guess you could say, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. All right, Drew, I know it's not the top 6 lineup, but I do want you to take a look at the first call out and just do your thing based off of what you see.
Okay.
All right.
So the biggest thing was we had a lot of anticipation with Dan in the last week when we had him on. I know some of the advice that Aaron was giving him was the fullness, like don't pump up too much. He's already full as can be. But with this lineup, there's a lot of fullness, right? So I think it did hurt him, especially with AJ being very, very full. And we talked about Dan being one of the biggest, most muscular, dense guys in the lineup. AJ did have a lot of density, and he is a little bit of a shorter guy. He's not as wide, but his density in the chest and like you said in your video earlier today, doesn't have as much density in the lower back, but with his conditioning and the way that he peaked, he looked the best that I've ever seen him. And, Dan still has a very hardcore muscular stature to where there's things he has and there's things that he doesn't have. And that's just the flow. When you look at him, it's not as pleasing as some of these other guys. When you look at AJ, it flows, tight waist, really wide shoulders, not as wide as some of these other guys, but he's filled out and it's appealing with the full chest and the shoulders and the arms, and it's all in balance. Barack is another guy, especially head to toe, that has a very complete balanced look. Not the biggest guy in this lineup, but the way that he's posing and kind of manipulating everything that he's in control of, like with the angles. He doesn't have the smallest waist, but the way that he's angling it, he looks very complete and very full in the chest. I would even say that Barack here had a fuller chest than Dan, but I think that's because Dan probably didn't pump up.
Yeah.
So I think the pump up did hurt Dan, but at the same time, the detail in both Barack and AJ was very, very good. And I would even say that even with Shaun T, very, very razor sharp conditioning. I think being an older guy with the muscle maturity, everything coming together, it seems like he doesn't really have his sweet spots down yet. As far as like his angle looks a little bit uncomfortable, like he's kind of kinked up. Probably the most shallow back, but some of the best conditioning in this lineup. And that's why I think he was being compared to some of these other guys that kind of see who would fall in that 3rd and 4th spot here.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, there's a lot of guys. It wasn't the deepest lineup, but for the guys that did have the opportunity to get in this first call out, they were worked by Big Steve, and they did show off a lot of their best looks all season.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree. Chris, is there anything or anybody specifically that really stood out to you in this lineup?
Oh, obviously AJ. I mean, for him being pushing 50 years old now. I mean,
He's that old?
Bro, he's
49.
49. He's
Yep.
49.
That's just unreal to win in the open division. I know I always give masters guys like a bunch of shit just joking around, but dude, that's absolutely unreal. And then another person I think that could have actually won the show if he posed better was Shaun T. I thought Shaun T came in looking amazing. And it's just little posing tweaks here and there that might have made the difference. But dude, he was on again. So honestly, we were talking about this show being a little bit of a weaker lineup, but these guys that showed out in the first call outs, they were on point and they all looked good. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. I think the biggest shock of the show to me was AJ. It looked like he was about to burst out of his skin.
Yeah.
Like it was a perfect peak. It was the best.
That's why I think it hurt Dan, because
Yeah,
AJ had such this crazy peak. And talking about how Dan is, the biggest guy, arguably, in men's physique. It's not just about being big, it's like having that pop. So I think that Dan, if he had pumped up, it could have been the difference between winning. And it's nothing to take away from AJ. He nailed this peak and his polish. And Chicago Pro's always kind of been a little weird show because it's always the guys that come in that nobody expects that win.
yeah. I like.
And I'm not even just saying that. It's been like that for years. And I like to see, shout out to Tim Gardner, and I even told him this, the way that they upgraded the stage. Look at the floor, look at the backdrop, what they give the athletes when they win. They still have the ring, they have the trophy, they have a lot of cool stuff that they're giving. The year that I did it, I mean, it wasn't like the lighting, it was never good. And now they're really going above and beyond. And I think it was one of the best
I agree.
US stage lighting shows and just overall presentation of the entire show all year. I'll
I,
put it against any other pro show in the US.
Ariel, let me ask you specifically. I'm sure you've seen dance physique all over social media, maybe even in person. But I'm curious, if you were his coach, what would you recommend him to do? Is it make that transition to classic physique, or is it continue to try to downsize, very similar to how you and Edvon did, and stay in men's physique?
I would stay in men's league, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, just because you're big doesn't mean, oh, you should go to classic.
Yeah.
You have to have the X frame. You have to have the complete look. And I just don't think he has the complete look to compete in classic. I still think he can compete in men's physique.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the feedback. I heard the feedback. I know what he needs to do as far as like, oh, the way he's put together, his muscle density, it's classic.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, going like his lower body and all that, it's just not classic to me.
Yeah. So then what would you have him do specifically? I mean, you don't have to give us the secrets of what you did with Edvon, but in this situation, if you had Dan as a client, what would you do in order to make him more men's physique, at least upper body wise?
How far is he from
He's
the cap?
not he's not pushing the cap crazy. I mean, he might be a couple pounds under, but he's not like Drew, where he's like right on the cap weighing
Yeah,
in.
there's some things that I could probably do, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Fair enough. Fair
Mhm.
enough. I got to see. That's why we got to have Edvon on. Maybe he'll spill the beans. I'm always been curious on what you did with that, bro. That's a true like 20 pounds of muscle just somehow gone, but still keeping pop. That shit never made sense to me. But I
Well, I
agree.
have a question for Ariel real quick. Didn't mean to cut you off, Alex. I
No,
have
no,
a
you're
question
good.
for Ariel real quick. Who do you think is the biggest, I would say, men's physique Olympian? Like who holds their size really well, and it's not even about the weight, it's about the look as well. Some of these guys may be under their weight cap. Like Daniel Ammons doesn't even look like he's at his weight cap when he competed, but he was one of the lightest guys. Who do you think is the biggest men's physique pro with like the most density that you have seen or
Oh,
even worked with?
I I I,
That's a,
I
that's a
have
tough
mine.
one.
I'm
me
curious.
and Alex are the same.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious though. I'm curious if he's
I
gonna.
mean, it depends on what you mean. Like size, like just
Just
thick.
sheer mass when you look at them, like, wow, that dude's just massive.
I think Josh is pretty massive.
Yeah, but it's his arms. It's like distribution line. It's like his arms are like, oh,
But everywhere, even when he was on stage with Dan last week, I did notice from even the one crowd angle how big his chest was.
yeah,
Like It's obviously something that's subjective. People could prefer a certain guy that has, oh, he's massive because he has this muscle group. But overall, when you just see a guy in the gym working out in a tank top or something, like who would you think is like just a massive men's physique pro? I always thought it was Jeremy Bundia.
Look, Jeremy
He's
Poppin,
massive. Jeremy Potvin is freaky
bro,
and
dense as fuck.
crazy, especially in person. You see him, and it's almost like he, from afar, like he looks as if he could be an open guy because he has that. He's short, but that stature, he's just sheer muscle. You
I,
know,
I hear Corey Morris has like a hidden physique where he can wear a
He
shirt.
does. He does.
He does,
Yes.
bro. When you see him
they call
backstage,
it the sleeper physique.
sleeper
Yep.
physique. You see him backstage, you're like, what the fuck? It's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
Like,
you
Why do
see
you
him in
think
the
that
gym with a
is?
shirt, it
bro, his
looks
waist.
normal as hell.
It's his
Yep.
waist, bro. It's his waist. His waist is nothing. And like then you see everything else next to it. It's just like everything is out of proportion. He's just so big. I don't know, man. It's the muscle bellies, the way it shapes. Like
Mhm.
it's I don't know what it is. He's such the unique, like cartoon character like physique, bro. Like it's weird. Like you can only draw that. But
You know who was like that I remember? That's like a sleeper is Akeem Supreme.
yeah,
Yes.
And he's tall, but he has like the dreads, but like just like his face is like he's got like a slender, he looks like he's a slender guy in clothes because he's about 6'2". He pulls it out and that dude's massive.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
dude,
know,
like
maybe it was the time I got
Major
into the sport, but
pause.
he's a freak.
like I tell that story all the time whenever I went into the bathroom
he pulls it
and
out
had
and
to
he's
pose it. And I'm like, who is this?
yeah.
Is that crazy?
Yo, that was
There's so
major.
many Paul's moments on this podcast.
Oh, we got to do a collab and just put them all together like a tribute,
Oh
a
man.
Diddy tribute.
All right, Cutz, I have to ask, man. Currently 18 Olympians qualified with still a pretty solid runway, from my understanding, about 8 weeks left. You still have some hitters who have already been in the Olympia stage before, some other guys who have been in those top conversations still running it. First of all, how the hell are you managing 18 Olympians? And honestly, what is it like? I mean, they're all over the world. You have different, I'm not gonna say skill levels are all Olympians, but you have some who are projected to be in that top conversation and vying for the win. Others who are in that, top five and then top 10 and then, first timers. How are you managing all of it?
Um, I'm used to it, I guess. I'm used to it, I guess. But then I look at it like, it's just each individual, everyone. I just look at their prep like it's their prep, and I do what I'm supposed to do, and I do the same thing for the next one. Like I don't think like, oh man, I gotta make sure this guy does this and he does that, and I got this other guy. I mean, I do think about the amount of guys that I have, but I look at it like it's its own thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. And I think a lot of times people think they start to overcomplicate what it actually is. That you do. And I think for you, it's just some stuff that you've always done. It just happens to be at a little bit of a higher level. When I say higher level, I just mean people who are winning shows right now. And I think that's why I think for you, it feels like so second nature. But I feel like to the world, bro, this isn't common. This
Were
has
you
to be.
always that way, Ariel? Like, did you always individualize it, or is it taking you time kind of when you kind of built up the roster that you have?
Um, I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question.
You just
I
move.
just I just do it.
Yeah.
Like I
It's
just do
always
it.
just been focusing on the individual being their best.
I do what I'm supposed to do.
But let me
I
ask
do
you this. Let me ask you
I
this.
do my yeah, go ahead.
How do you deal with the emotions of athletes who I'm guessing are all going to the Olympia with expectations to, I'm not going to say win, but be in that conversation? Is there any difference to that? I mean, you're coaching, these are 18 of your athletes, but these are also 18 athletes who are going to be going head to head against each other. Is there ever any kind of like animosities from some of these guys knowing that you're going to go against some of, their own, teammates or anything along those lines?
No. I mean, I think I work with a great group of guys,
Yeah.
and the guys that, who are like that, I guess you can say, I no longer work with. You know? So it's
Have you kicked Olympians off the team?
I have. I have. Just because we didn't work well together.
Yeah.
Because, they maybe added too much stress or they try to do many things on their own. Um, but I have told people like, yo, like I don't think it's gonna work between us.
Yeah. And
But for some reason I just feel like I attract good people, you know? So like it makes my job easier. But I do have some people that are stressful, and to be honest, I told myself like just a couple weeks ago, like I really do have to just interview more
mhm.
and just I'm setting the tone for a lot of new pros that I work with. Like, hey, if you're this type of guy that's, XYZ,
What's X, Y, and Z, bro? Say it. Like, what athletes don't you like to work with? Because, bro, there's just a lot of different types out there that I've noticed in my coaching.
the ones that are just in their head like crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of people are in their head,
True,
but
true.
there's a certain level that I can handle, and sometimes I just deal with it. Sometimes you know, I add that extra stress to myself.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the more people that I have that I work with that I love working with, the more I'm willing to just be like, this is not worth it,
Yeah.
Yep.
you know? And it adds a level of stress to me. Because you know how it is. I mean, you mentioned it in the last podcast, and it's exactly how I feel. I could have one guy win, but if I have another guy that probably didn't do well, that right there would be my focus,
Yep.
Yep.
And sometimes those guys that are like that tend to be a
The emo-
little harder,
yeah. The emotion.
and it gets to the point where they start throwing all these things at me, like, oh, it's because of this and it's because of that. Because people are super emotional after the show,
Yeah.
super emotional,
Yes.
and I have to try and calm them down, But there's just some that you can't, and it takes a toll on me, And especially this year. This year, dude, like I'm taking, obviously I'm working with. I'm not saying no to a lot of people. I've been taking on a lot of people, and I used to have a cap. But now it's just like, dude, this is my livelihood. I got to do what I got to do to make money, right? But at
Mm.
the same time, like, I got to take care of myself.
How-
So
yes.
I've been, I've been really, I'm going. I haven't started yet, but right now, these past few weeks, I've been like, I have to be careful. I really cannot take that type
Hmm.
of athlete, you know?
Well, I think on top of it too, people don't realize. So like the athlete's schedule is 9 months, right? Like a normal season for us is we get January through March off. But for a coach, they don't get that time off. Like for you to step away because people are in an improvement season or they're getting ready for the Arnold Classic or whatever that may be. So a lot of people may think, okay, Ariel is going to have a break from this time because there's no shows, but it doesn't stop for you and it doesn't stop for coaches. So it's very hard to find that time for yourself, especially with how many people that you have. And it really becomes a balancing of life kind of thing of, is my quality of life still good while I'm able to make this much money and have this many
Yeah.
clients? Or should I take a little bit less and have a better quality of life, be able to be with my kids a little bit more and all that good stuff? So I totally understand how it's about balancing act for you. And dude, I know every single person on this podcast and so many others respect what you do. And I don't think any of us realize how hard it actually is, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because I'm just used to it, right?
Mhm.
I have a lot of people that rely on me, and I honestly had to like even change my approach, my schedule, like just recently. Like I was talking to Alex yesterday, like, hey, can we change the time to this because I'm sleeping? Because I'm trying something new,
It was
and
midday too. I'm sitting here like, what?
yeah, I know.
What?
I'm trying something new, because the thing is this, like lately I've been doing everything I can to just, do my job, get people ready, and sometimes I don't have time to chop it up like I used
Yeah.
to. And the guys that I've been working with for a long time, could sometimes feel strange because they're used to me just like talking more
Yeah.
or asking them more questions. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm just really confident this year. This year has been like a pretty confident year as far as like
Yeah.
how I've been speaking people and stuff like that. And so like, you know, people don't like that, I guess.
I think it's funny you say this, bro, because this is something I've noticed when I started to really grow my coaching business and my roster. It's almost like you don't have the time for small talk anymore. And I used to be the person to like have long, drawn out conversations about things that had nothing to do with X's and O's, right? Just about life. But
Yeah.
I noticed that now in my responses, they're more direct. It's straight to the point of answering the question or setting the tone or whatever it might be, getting the information to the client, and then it's okay, on to the next message, same thing, communication.
Yeah.
So I think it's different because it's nice when we do travel to shows and we're able to have that personal time a little bit more.
Yeah.
But like you said, man, it does feel sometimes like with what you have on your plate, you're still giving you're giving the attention that's needed to bring the product. It's clear in the results, but at the same time, it's more like you said, it's more efficient and direct in terms of the communication.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest shift for me that I had to like get comfortable with because I felt like I was giving less value because of that, but I also feel like I needed that time in order to give more value.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on to add more to it, part of the reason why my time is even crazier is because I have two boys that are growing. I have a daughter. So like, I'm working and sometimes, my wife is there and I just feel bad for her, like dang, like I feel like she says it's okay, but in my head I don't feel right.
Yeah.
So like that right there affects me. And sometimes I expect some people to understand, but some don't,
Yeah.
and that's the people that I kind of want to be like, all right, dude, I don't know if I want to work with you anymore. Cause like, dude, like I'm really busy throughout the whole day. Just like, you know, it's summer. I used to take my daughter to school. She's in summer break. So I'm at home. And so I hear everything happen at home. I'm not out, working. I hear the baby's crying. I hear. So like, that adds another element to how am I going to handle things, right? So I think that's one of the hardest parts is adjusting to them growing. But I mean, that's something that you're going to have to,
Live with
kind
that.
of, really be prepared for it. But it's not two, it's one, you know. And my sleep sucks because, like one of my boys, Weston, he doesn't like sleeping in his bed. Like he just can't sleep. So like I have to bring him to my bed, put him to sleep, and then transfer him. And
Yeah.
then throughout the night, he wakes up, and then I will have to pick him up, and I can't sleep.
Yeah.
I can't because I'm not going to go into detail, but I can't sleep with him on the bed.
Yeah.
So I had to switch my whole schedule around. So people don't understand that part, but you know, even with all that going on, I'm still doing my job. And
That's
so I don't understand why, some people have a problem with it, but because if you're at your best, like what's wrong with that?
That's what they
You
hire you
know?
for, to coach.
You know,
It's the expectation. I feel like
yeah,
since they're hiring you, that you need to answer everything that they have a question about at the time that they need it or they want it.
yeah. Yeah, because right now I get to some clients, I get to them at night. I'm doing check-ins at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's the same with me. Like you do, you treat me the same as NPC guy. And I know
100%.
you do because you pride yourself in being equal with everybody. As long as we get our response, and then I'll talk to you like if there's small talk here and there, but usually anything about the diet, the training, whatever it may be, it's nipped in the ass right then and there. And then I talk to you next week about it, get the check-ins, and then it might be a little bit later, but I understand that. And I know the things that, you have to do and
Yeah.
have to take care of with the family. Other people, it's like whether they know that or not, it doesn't matter because they're paying you for a service and they expect you to do what they want whenever they want it. And it's how some people are, just like anything. We can't change what people
Yeah.
think and do, but I mean, at least we could get on here and explain it. And we get it, but not everybody is. That's why there's other coaches that they could go to, but they're not going to be as good.
Well, I'll say this, man. Not every, I think Ariel can coach most people, but not every, athlete is a good fit for Ariel. Some need more attention. Some need their handheld, and it's just the reality of their current situation. And I'm sure, Drew, you at, you know, the first year of your competing is much different than you now, right? So it's
Absolutely.
you know what I mean. It's different, and I've come to grips with that. I've been with that my same coach for 7 years, and there was a time where I needed to be like handheld. I always followed the plan, did what I needed to do, but like I don't know, I just felt like I needed that thing. But now, I feel like I don't. I just want to be told what to do, bro. And I don't want too much back and forth. Tell me what to do, and I'm gonna do it. All right,
Yeah.
and I feel like you get to that point as you mature as an athlete, and it takes time, throughout that. It takes losses, high emotions, low emotions to realize really what you want. You don't need a best friend. You just want somebody to help get you to your all-time best. You know,
Yeah.
that's the big
But
thing.
you know what though? Like in the same time, like I don't like the fact that I do have my guys wait for me. You know, like like you hear it throughout the league, like, oh, my coach didn't get to me till
Yep.
like 3 days later, or my coach didn't get to me till like a week later, and the fact that I'm just late in general still bothers me because I pride myself in how I respond,
Yep.
right? So I was like, man, I gotta do something different. I gotta do something different. So this is something that I thought about, and you know, like you mentioned, like how do you handle everything? So I tried something new, and I just started it this week.
Visit.
I was like, you know what? I work really well at night, so why want to just maybe try a graveyard shift, right? So I haven't been sleeping throughout the night, and I would sleep like around noontime. So that means I can help the guys who, like, let's say they check in 6 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
That's 3 o'clock for me in some parts of the world, right?
Yeah.
Or in the East Coast. I'm able to respond to them right away.
Okay.
So I've been doing that, and I don't know. I feel pretty good about it so far. I mean, my sleep I feel extra tired, so I'm still adapting. But it also helps me too because I used to like trip out at night, like, oh man,
All these
I
check-ins.
not just that, but I'm talking about show day, for
Oh,
example.
yeah.
Like, oh man, I want to sleep, but then I gotta be up because this guy's gonna, he's gonna go on stage and at this time, and I gotta tell him what to eat. I gotta see how he looks. So my new schedule kind of favors that because if it's 3 a.m. here and it's 6 o'clock there, I can just respond right away.
Yep.
Um, I can pretty much respond during prejudging around their times, and then I could just go to sleep. So I'm hoping that it does work. It just, it's a big switch, but Linda's all good with it, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but that's something that I did try, that I am trying to do to really elevate my game a little bit, to try and be better because I have to adapt. I do have a lot of pros, and I still want to be the best that I can. So that's one thing that I did try to fix recently to handle, as you say, all these pros and all these guys.
You ever take a second to grasp what you've done? Because I feel like you're sometimes the personality, from what I've known, is it's on to the next, it's on to the next, it's on to the next. But in those motions, do you ever have the opportunity to sit down and realize I have 18 Olympians? I have two classic guys. I have guys who are expected to win the Olympia. I have, elite level athletes across the board. Do you ever take a second to realize that?
Yeah, but is it a bad thing that sometimes I don't think it's a big deal.
That's crazy, bro. I
From the
think
outside looking in, I could see your point of view because from the athlete perspective, right? Me being, qualified in Toronto, um, I don't look at myself as a big deal or think that, okay, it's an accomplishment because I've been to the Olympia before now, right? It's not like the first time that I made it. It's like, whoa, because there are probably checkpoints in your career, Ariel, where it's like, wow, all right, now I'm in the conversation as being one of the best, but you always want more. It's human nature. We always want something that we don't have. Like, for example, cars, you buy a Mustang and then a Corvette pulls up next to you. It's like, damn, I wish I had that. And then you're in a Corvette, Lambo pulls next to you. Damn, I wish I had that, until you get that and it keeps leveling up. So I think we have these high expectations. And I don't think that you're in competition with anybody else. And that's the beautiful thing about this because you're in competition with yourself and learning the most that you can learn. And the fact is, you can never learn everything. You can't. You're never going to know every single thing about what you do because the human body is always changing. There's no bulletproof plan or coaching.
Yeah.
But in order to be the best, I mean, you're doing that already. And there's no standard for the best. You just keep setting it because you're already here. I mean, there's no conversation, but your goal isn't necessarily to be the best. It's just to be the best version of you and for your athletes and just kind of constantly learning. Your goal isn't just be, I want to be the best and be remembered for this. No, I think you're addicted and obsessed with learning more. And it's healthy, but then there's points of it that it's not because you keep taking on new people and it will eventually stress you up. But now you're learning to micromanage some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it is getting better.
Yeah. But I just think like I just don't think about it. Like
You're too
I
busy to think about it.
like
I was getting no sleep.
but yeah, I know, right? I just don't think about it because I'm thinking about the next show.
Mhm.
Like, like I still got okay, I gotta make sure this guy's on point. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. So like I'm thinking about the next guy already. Like so I'm not thinking like, oh yeah, I did this, like haha. Like I'm not thinking it like that. But I mean, the only time that I really do just like, if anything, say anything or I try not to be arrogant about it, but the only
The
time that I
Instagram
really
bio, baby.
was that.
The Instagram bio is your bonus.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the only thing. You know, I do that because people love it, right? So I'm like, you know what?
Makes
I
you
guess
feel
it's
good though
I
too.
guess it's not a bad thing,
Bro,
So
like talk your shit, post it.
you know,
It's
You know
your
what?
thing though too now. It's like your thing. It's like
It
the
is.
signature, and we all look forward to it. I even told Zach today. I'm like, because I'm really impressed with his look, and we're gonna get to Vancouver here in a little bit. But I'm like, Ariel's getting ready to change that bio one more time. You're gonna keep changing it. I mean, and that's the cool thing about it. And I like how you individually do the numbers. So if you had like 2 in one weekend or something,
Yep.
you
Yeah,
go back from like 82 and like
that's what I like.
81, and then you delete it, and then you do
I
80. So
love
you like
that.
you're
Yeah.
I like that.
like, okay. That's like a statement. It's like, and it's
yeah,
so savage, but you're really not doing anything. It's so nonchalant. That's what I like.
yeah,
And it's your thing. Nobody else is doing it. Now, if people started doing it, then you'd realize, okay, it's because of you.
yeah. I didn't think about that.
Do you know
Yeah.
But
what?
yeah, that's the only time that I actually like, think about it or say something, because it's cool.
It's cool as
I think
fuck.
it's
It
I,
is.
I think it's pretty cool,
Yeah.
but the thing I did tell people like, like after I reach 100 wins, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
just because, like
how many you at right now?
90 something.
Who's going to
Oh,
be the
what?
100?
That's like
94.
that's like next week. What do you
Yeah,
do?
94. So I don't know if I reach 100 this year, dude, that would be
Hey, it
crazy.
would be cool if the Olympia was 100.
Dude.
Yo,
Yeah,
it,
That'd be
I don't
cool.
want to think about it. I don't want to think about it, but
But that's not it. That's is a pro win, but it's almost its own win. It's just an
Yeah.
Olympia win. Like how many Olympia titles do you have versus how many pro wins do you have? It would
yeah.
add to that. But do you have a separate journal to where you have it all written down to who won what with the number?
that's wild. His Instagram.
Uh,
Feel like you'd forget.
Not anymore. I mean, it's all in my head. I used to write it down, but then like, nah, I just You know,
Oh yeah.
it's in my Instagram. If I can just look back and
Yeah.
show like, oh, okay, I made a post about so and so, so I'll just scroll down like, oh yeah, I got
Yeah.
that.
I
You
had to do
know,
that to find all these to fact check all of your qualifications, bro. I was like, oh, shit, you keep going, keep going. Was Corey Morse your first of the year this year? Outside of like Aaron, who's already qualified?
mm,
Because it was Sasquatch was the first. I think he went right after the Olympia.
no, he wasn't my first one. It
Jesus,
was Sabor,
I don't even know who that is. And that's
the
another thing.
classic guy,
You know
classic
who
guy.
he is,
Oh, okay.
Alex. He's here in Tampa.
Oh wait, I did meet. I met him at Powerhouse Gym.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
where he's from.
I think I don't
Wait,
know.
no,
I
did
don't
he make a
remember
comeback?
because Corey won
Oh,
back to back in Asia.
yeah, but wait, didn't he make a comeback, Sabor? Wasn't he out for a
Yes.
little? Well,
Yeah, he
Yes.
was out for a
He's
bit and
short.
then he came back and yeah.
oh, I was talking to
He's
him.
young still.
Damn. Wow,
He's young still.
full circle, bro. He was telling, isn't he in the military or something? He was doing
Yes.
something.
He was in the military, but
Yeah.
I think during COVID he got out.
Okay. Wow. Good for him, man. I was talking to him about like, you in the gym one time and he was telling me he's making a comeback. So the fact that he actually got it fucking done, man, for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. All right. Question. Who this might rub, I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way. Who is the hard okay, who was the hardest to peak in your in out of this 18?
Let's see. Who's the hardest to peak?
I wonder if your classic guys are hard with the muscle.
No, Eric is pretty easy.
Eric's pretty easy because he's so in shape. So it's probably just getting it in real
But
easy.
but the fact that he has to make weight and the things that I have to do,
Crazy.
I'd say probably maybe Vitor maybe.
Really?
Only because like
You got to be
I
careful.
say Vitor because we had to try different stuff and I could honestly say we nailed it for the
Yeah.
first time
Yep.
at Pittsburgh.
100%. I think Pittsburgh was his best of all time. When I seen him
Dude,
backstage, but
bro,
it was disgusting. Like,
it was crazy. Like I'll say
I
that it was crazy. I was like, holy crap. And you know
didn't
what's
know he could
crazy?
get that dry.
no, I didn't know.
Dude, it was dry. Like the muscle was just it was just skin and muscle. Like
Yeah.
that's how it looked. And
Okay.
I don't even know if the stage photo I don't think the
It
stage
doesn't.
shots did anybody
You
justice.
had to
No.
you had to be there and see it because when I saw the
Yeah.
video, even the high quality videos out there, I was like, nah, that's not what I saw in person. Trust me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like
Trust me.
even like even Aaron, when Aaron was backstage with me, like
Aaron.
even he looked insane.
Yep.
I was just like, holy crap. You know? So like, yeah, those stage shots didn't do justice at all.
Then
But yeah, I think Vitor, just because I don't know.
who was your best?
Me and Vitor, we have a different approach when it comes to working together. I'll say that
Okay.
that we agreed on.
All right.
So it's kind of like stuff that I have to be psychological with my approach with him.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I got to think like, okay, if I know he's doing this, I got to make sure he's doing this. It's like, yeah.
I got you. Then let me ask you, what was the best peak? I'm curious if your hardest peak was also your best peak, but what was your best peak guy out of this lineup? And I also think Hassan Karimi has been looking crazy lately, bro. I don't that conditioning, he has to be the hardest guy out of everybody.
Can I say who's my favorite peak?
All right, that's fair. Who?
Steven.
All right, you got to explain this because before I've seen his looks, they were a little inconsistent. When he did Tampa with me, I was like, I don't know what happened. This was the best look by a mile. Like it wasn't even close. What happened?
I say Steven only because I've worked with Steven since he was 21 years old,
Mhm.
you know, and in the beginning, he was like, locked in, followed everything I said. And, the more experience you get, obviously, the more an athlete experiments or tries to mess with, like, oh, what can I get away with?
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I was talking about this with Aaron yesterday. It's just like what, because when I was working with Aaron back in 2020, 2021, he was like everything was just like
By the
on point,
by the ground.
right? And as time goes by, you kind of add certain things. Like at the time, he was like, I didn't know you could use like sugar-free sauces and stuff like that. So that's when things started to like, be a little harder. But with Steven is a guy that just can't stop moving. He can't stop. He does a lot. Like during like I say previously his best peak was probably the Arnold 2000, the first Arnold that he did when he got
I got
six.
third or
No, he got
sixth.
six. He got six.
Okay.
And he was like, it was sick. Like I remember that prep. And as time went by, he just, experimented a lot. He would go to the gym twice a day. He would do jujitsu. He would do pickleball. He would do like all these things. So I have to like take all that into consideration. For this prep, we were talking and he just told me like, yeah, this is the show that I even talked to his girlfriend that I met for the first time, was really nice, by the way. He just followed everything this time.
Yeah.
And I know he was following everything because the changes that I made and everything was just accurate,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
And it was just to me like his waist was just like you have to see it in person. It was like
Crazy.
dry.
Yeah.
It
Bro,
was like dry and
we had
I
Dan
was I,
on.
I was honestly like really surprised. And so that's my favorite peak because this is the first time that he actually gave me his best,
That's awesome. That's
you
awesome.
know,
Dan,
after working with him for like hella years,
yeah.
you know?
He was the original. He was the first person. That's how I found out about you. I'm from Jersey. We're both from Jersey,
Yeah,
and he's been with you from day one. And
yeah, day one.
he was like the first IFBB pro like in our area back growing up. We were all young, and I will never forget like who was his coach. Like that was like the question because that's when he started coaching like Dylan McKenna, like David Lay, like all the guys back in the day. Like that was like Steven. So then we kind of followed like okay, who's a disciple of Steven? And then that's how I ended up finding you. So I think that's cool, man. It's
Yeah,
crazy, and that's loyalty too because you don't see that often. Guys
you
stick with
know.
the same guys for this long. But
Yeah.
oh yeah, he looks
Yeah,
awesome.
he's like literally like a little brother to me, you know.
I love
He's
it.
like the same age as my brother.
How old
So
is he? Isn't he still? He's still young. He's just been around for a long time.
like 30, 31. Like I was working with him since he's 21.
Okay,
Like he just turned 21 when I was working with him.
Steven's 31.
I did. I thought he was.
Something like that. I don't know.
I thought he was 20 something.
I was actually surprised too, and not in a bad way. Like Steven has always had one of the craziest backs. Even back then, just with his insertions, it always looked like implanted. Like that's something that you can't train to get. It just his shape and his insertion point. Um, but as far as like his front pose, like he was never a guy that was known to get dry or condition. He may have
Yeah.
hit it a couple times, but it was never what he was known for. So seeing this look leading up to it, that even like after the show, like the post shows and his core and like all of that, like I could tell when Steven's on when he posts a lot more,
Yeah.
because he knows he's feeling himself. But I was really shook, and I'm like, Ariel does it again. And I did notice because I used to watch his YouTube channel, and he was always that guy that he would kind of eat off diet and almost like he's snitching
Yeah.
on himself because you
Yeah.
probably be see it and it's like, okay, well, he's kind of doing little things that are added and just kind of knowing how you diet. Everything is very
Yeah.
specific. So if there's anything added, it shouldn't be there. It's added.
Yeah.
So seeing kind of how he looked, I'm like, that's the look that he should have always had being locked in. And you just kind of validated that.
Yeah.
So, I
Well,
mean,
you
I
know
just
what,
have to do
man?
the same for the O.
Yeah, with Steven, like I always, you know, I always looked at him as a guy that can go very far, you know, but we just never was able to lock in. So like each year I'll just be like, damn, like kind of disappointed and so but he's still young though, he's learning.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping like, this time around, he keeps the same drive because
He's in his
you just
prime
never
right
know
now.
with people.
He's in his
No.
prime. And people don't
Yeah.
realize that it takes a while to build that dense muscle, especially like with him, he was more of a, I always compare people. They can be great looking wide, like from the front, but whenever they start building that density from like the back to front, which now I think Steven's finally, we're starting to see it, like that chest is now starting to pop. His back is getting denser and he already had a crazy back. I think now we're going to start seeing him level up and be a really legit athlete going forward.
We'll see. I need to see consecutive years.
Yeah, we
No,
got
I
to
got
do it.
it.
We got to do
Yeah,
it. Just two
You hear it,
consecutive
Steven?
shows.
So if
Yeah.
you're watching this video, Steven,
Yeah.
we talk about this all the time. We talk about it all the time. But
Now,
yeah,
now let me ask you this. We talk about a lot of your successes. We just had one of your athletes step off stage with high expectations who didn't necessarily nail his look. So
yeah,
I
that was
want
terrible.
I want I want to talk to you a little bit more about kind of one, where your head at, what do you think went wrong, and what do you guys think you're going to do in order to fine tune moving forward?
Yeah, well, we talked after the show, and I mean, for one, I just thought he needed to be tighter,
Yeah.
and I straight up told him after the show, like, bro, like, you just got to get peeled, man. Like, just don't think about the weight, and just like, don't like if the scale goes down, whatever, just get peeled and then fill out,
Yeah.
and so like it didn't help that the show was late.
Mhm.
They were supposed to be on at like 5, 6 or something like that. He ended up being on stage at like 7 something, so like his body, like, and he didn't really eat. He, like, we were at a point where he was like, he was scared to eat. So because he felt like he wasn't, you know, he felt like he was gonna spill or something like that. And so like it just dragged and it dragged, and he was in a good spot like in the morning, he was pretty tight, and then it just faded and faded and faded and faded and faded and just got really bad. And so, the cool thing about Bhuwan though is the fact that it was something that I didn't expect. No offense, Bhuwan, if you're watching this. Like, his attitude after the show was like, wow, okay. Like, his mindset was just very different. Like, he was, it sucked, but he was still positive.
He's very mature.
And dude, yeah, I was shocked. Like, I'm
Rebel.
telling you, I was shocked because I've dealt with so many people where after they do a show, like, even though it's not true, they'll start thinking about all these things.
Yes,
Like, oh,
bro.
I look like this, and this happened because I did this, and
You
I
should
need
tell
to do this next time. Oh, I did this before. So like all these things start racing, in their minds. And so like sometimes you have to tame them, like, yo, you need to calm down,
Yep.
and but then once a person thinks something, it's sometimes hard to like stop it,
Yeah.
and then it makes my job harder because now I can't do what I need to do
You're
because
coaching
now they,
against the person now. It's like that's what it becomes. It's like it's almost I've been in a situation, and I really see this with like NPC amateurs who are almost getting their pro card. So I
yeah,
can imagine it like Olympians, just or guys who are so close to the Olympia stage, right? And it's like you're now coaching almost like against some of the things, and really,
yeah,
something when you break it down, it's so fucking simple. Like for Bhuwan more specifically, let's get more conditioned. And then from there, I think everything else becomes easier. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Once you're
yeah,
at it, then the peaking process becomes significantly easier. But I 100% agree. I know exactly what you're talking about. So
yeah.
what's your guys' plan moving forward? He's stepping on stage in 4 or 5 days, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
What are you guys going to do differently? Is it just focusing on that conditioning, or is it a little bit different of an approach?
Well, we talked and I told him like, bro, you just need to turn it up, dude. Like, um, he's like what, 208 right now. So his weight's dropping. And I just told him just get as lean as you can. It's not a lot of time, but people do get better after shows,
100%.
So like it's still tricky. I mean, I could honestly, the question you asked me earlier, like who's the hardest to peak, he's right there, like he's right there right now. And it's only because we're limited in time,
Yeah.
and I know he mentioned in the podcast before, like, oh yeah, I've never done a prep this long. And it's just because like, we were trying to maintain as much as possible, but in the same time, it's like it got to the point where like we like you guys said it multiple times. Like it's almost like being too worried about losing weight,
Yeah.
you
But
know,
you're the one
and
who told me
it
to stop doing it. You remember the first podcast we ever had? I'll never forget. You told me to, bro, stop making adjustments based off of the weight. No one, like the judges aren't judging your weight, they're judging your look. So make adjustments based
yeah.
on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I that's why I had to tell him like after the show, like, yo, let's just who cares if you're not 210, if whatever, because his previous low was like 200 or something like that, or 199 in his previous best. So I was like, dude, just whatever. If you're not 210, just whatever. If not 208, we just got to do what we got to do to just get peeled. We got to do what you're known for, you know? So, sometimes people would chase a certain number or look or whatever, like just look at the gym, and sometimes it just because you look good in the gym doesn't mean you look good on stage, because the
Doesn't
lighting is
translate.
different,
Mhm.
like you gotta pump, you're using real weights, like you're not using bands. So like, I have people send me pictures. This is not I'm not talking about you, Bhuwan, okay, if you're watching this. I'm just talking to people in general. Like they would send me like, oh yeah, I look like this in the gym, blah blah blah. Well,
Hmm.
it's different lighting.
Yep.
Like you can't, people. I've seen people chase that look in the gym, and they actually look watery once
Yeah.
they get on stage. Because once the light hits you, it's different. There's water there that you won't see, on stage or at the gym, you know?
Mhm.
So and my job is to balance that out. Like, okay, how can I be in the middle to where they can be conditioned and get a good pump and kind of, have that look, and for the most part, I felt like I've been doing, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but outside of him, I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job with that with everybody this year.
You guys been smashing.
Like every person that I've seen on stage this year, that's why I'm like so confident and like I'm not as stressed. So when people, worry about, oh yeah, like I'm not, you're not telling me what to do with this, you haven't changed anything. It's because in my head, like I know what I want to do and I know what I'm chasing and I know, I have the plan written in my head,
Yeah.
and it's been translating on stage. I mean, look at everybody who won, right? Everybody has like almost like a similar look. It's almost like this conditioned, round, pumped look,
Yeah.
you know?
Perfect.
And was that?
Perfect peak.
I was
Yeah,
going
I
to
What
say
mean,
this
Alex what
though.
Alex needs. That's it.
Bro,
That's all he needs.
can you imagine
yeah,
me coming in like that? All right, we'll talk
Hey,
about
Alex, if you think about it this way, or
it.
Ariel, if you think about it this way, if you were to hear someone say they had a 98% free throw percentage, you'd be like, that's out of this world, right? That's
yeah.
basically what you're doing with these peaks, right?
I
Even
mean,
in
I'm
baseball, like a
trying.
batting average, that's like 0.29 is a good
That's what I'm
batting average,
saying.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
you
I'm
can't,
trying.
yeah, we can't win them all.
Yeah, like peaking is like one of the hardest things because
I don't understand it.
you could be in control of the things that you think you have control with, but you don't because you don't know how much they slept the night before. You don't know if they changed the time they drank their water. You don't know if, they're stressed, because, stress adds another element. Like I could give you a perfect example. My guy that competed this weekend, Horatio, he's a bodybuilder, NPC, and he won the overall, but for prejudging, he was like on the flatter side. When I saw him in my room, he was like, he looked good. He was like hard, full. When we were backstage, I sat there and I was talking to him, and I was like, damn, like his tan's kind of light. And so it looked like because he did his own tan, it looked like he just washed it off and didn't add any more tan. So in my head, I was like stressing out a little bit. I was like, oh crap. So I told him like, bro, your tan's kind of light. And once I told him that, it's like his spirit left him.
Oh shit.
Like I could see it in his eyes. And I was like, crap. Like I know this is gonna affect him. Like the cortisol and everything, it's just gonna affect him. So I did everything I could. I talked to the tanning dude and I was like, yo, I'll give you $100. Just take care of my guy. And so he did, so his tan got dark enough, but
So that's dope.
he, he was still on the flatter side, so I was like, crap. So that's like a perfect example of like how your body can just change just by stress, and you just don't have control over emotions and how they feel or what they're doing. So that's what makes it hard. So when I have a person stress out and tell me, oh yeah, I'm stressing about this and that, I feel this and I feel that, it's like, oh, dude, I just need you to calm down. Like, it's almost like I have to brag, but then I don't mean to brag. Like, bro, I've been peaking people really well this year. Like, just know that you're gonna do good. You're gonna be fine. And so sometimes it's too late and you really can't do anything about it because you can't control a person's emotions. You could say, it's okay, you're gonna be okay. They're not gonna be okay,
Yeah.
so you could control what you can control. And the people that like the guys that I worked with this year who won, it's like, thank you. And I appreciate you guys for trusting me. Like I could even throw Drew out there, for example. This past Toronto year, this past Toronto this year, he was stressed. You was
Yeah.
stressed, right, Drew?
Yep.
He was
And I
stressed.
didn't even have to tell you. There were certain things that you could pick up on. And that's how
Yeah.
well of a coach you are seeing me compared to other shows. And it wasn't necessarily just about the look or anything. It was like my fatigue in my body and nothing specifically just going on. It was just like the mood and the way that I was viewing things. And, it was just different, but you picked up on it.
Yeah, and but I bet you though, like if you was calm and you didn't think that way, I bet you would have been even sharper.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I
So
agree.
like I remember he went in my room and I was like, It's different. Like he got a
Yeah.
different vibe. He got a different vibe on it. He's stressing." And then even morning of the show, like it was just a different level of stress. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's different. He has a lot of pressure on him. So even stuff like that can like change like how you look,
Yeah.
So you know, you control what you can control, but it's not 100% you.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
like you, Alex, you, Chris, you guys could peak your guys, but if there's stress, it's like,
You can't
what
beat
can I
cortisol.
do? What can I do?
I say you can't beat cortisol, man. Like there's a lot of things you try to control, if you have to put sodium water or whatever you got to do, you can't beat cortisol, man. Like cortisol
Yeah,
will always affect your look. If you go in even keeled versus a cortisol look, you can tell, right? So it's all we can do is damage control in those situations and try our best
yeah,
to, be competitive, but also it's crazy that you're doing that with top Olympians. I think that's like the scariest part. And I can only imagine with the stress that like Drew feels getting ready to step on stage, going for a two-peat, eyes on him, right? He is on a podcast talking about men's physique. So he knows people are going to be talking about him if he doesn't deliver, right? So like he has all of these things. And the craziest part about the whole thing is this is what I fucking hate about this division. He still wins and still gets shit. That's
yeah,
that's the craziest part to me. It's like I get it. You can say what you want to say, but at the end of the day, it's like you still don't get celebrated for it. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. But also,
Yeah, but you know what though? It's like that in everything that you do. It's like that in every sport.
yeah,
Like okay, like Steph Curry wins his fourth championship. People will say, "Oh, it's because the league was weak. This person was hurt." Like,
you know
there's
what's
always something.
it's all yeah,
You
but
know?
it sucks when it's coming from your peers. Like
Yeah,
it's when people who go through the struggle with you and they know what it feels like or aim to even be in the position where Drew is for example, and they still want to talk, and
It depends on the person as well. I feel like Steph Curry, with the amount of pressure he has, because everybody knows Steph Curry, but there's other players in basketball, let's say, that they do really good out the gate. Same thing with like Deke Walker winning this past weekend. I mean, you're not going to have somebody hate on a guy like that. I don't hear it. I think it's more so me being a podcaster, having a difference of opinion with other people, coming in and being the guy. Like sometimes people pray for the downfall of like the champ. Like I went to do to win a show again. It's almost like people don't want to see that happen. They want to see a new guy. Like people always hated on Tom Brady because why? Because he always won. It wasn't even anything that he said. He just
yeah,
always
100%.
won.
They just got tired of seeing
Um,
him, and it's the only
But
reason.
then
yeah,
once
and they
the
want to
people
see a
out of the
switch
sport,
up.
they love them. They
Yeah, they
love
want.
all those people.
Yeah, when you're done, then they want you back, and it's like, but if Tom Brady was back, then so and so. Like, you apply it to any type of sport, but I mean, it was, that weekend was pretty stressful. Social media likes to push a narrative of, you know, side by sides of favorites and things like that, and it comes down to like a popularity contest, and it just sometimes it's hard to understand, but I'm still learning being on this podcast. I'm still learning with the way that I deal with stuff. And I know Ariel is too, probably with the pressure of everybody always saying he's the GOAT, because there's bound to be people that disagree, and then the numbers, you could have the facts, man. There's always going to be somebody that argues 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4.
Yep.
There's always going to be somebody. And he's somebody that explained that to me very thoroughly throughout, even after the prep. He's like, there's always going to be people difference of opinions, because I think he noticed that I would fight back and try to rebuttal and try to give responses to these people. And you can't argue with people that believe the way that they believe. You could argue your position, but you've already lost because you're giving that.
Yes, exactly. Yep. You nail on the head, man. But like you said, I did want to give a quick shout out to Deke Walker, because I know we're getting to the end of the podcast, but I had to make sure I give him some love, man, because the fact that he got it done after all of these years, placing second, third, fourth, fifth, consistently being in those call outs, and then even falling out of the conversation at some shows, stays with it and gets it done, man. He finally punches a ticket here in Columbia. So we were talking about the show a little bit, but didn't talk about the winner. But
it's nasty, bro. It was
his
nasty.
Emotion after showed it all. I mean,
look at his leg. You see his calf from that?
Bro,
that's how I knew. That's how he knew. That's how I knew that he had this show. And I'm like, that's him right there. And I know Alex on his video earlier said he doesn't think it's the best, but I think a lot of it is the lighting, because Miami lighting was still top tier the year that he did it. But just judging even by sides and stuff, it could be something as easy as tan or glaze. This was probably the closest representation of the Miami look. And he's not the best shaped guy on stage. The guy that was in second had a crazy shape, but he went on the fullness, the overall conditioning, the peak, and just his presence of coming out, being in control with his posing, and just very professional. And just, that's a posing routine where he comes out and everybody just knows, like, hey, we're going to shut up and we're going to watch this, because this is, the perfect demonstration of what men's physique Olympian should be. And it's exactly what it was. So I'm super happy of him and proud of him. And he's been doing the work, and watching these guys knock on the door for so long. And, me being on stage with them for years and years and years, and finally seeing them do it, that emotion, like Chris said, it was impactful. And I know that I've had my moment, and then there was times that I didn't have my moment. I watched, I've been sitting there, like when I was second or third, and seeing all these emotions that the guys had. I'm like, one day I'm going to get it. And then finally getting mine, knowing what it feels like, and then seeing him get his, it's like I kind of lived through it with them. So it's super dope.
What's cool? Like, there was like a group of you guys who were always in that, like, it was Chris Barr, it was you, it was like a Deke Walker. Who else was it? Like, always it was in those top 3-4 conversations, like every single show. And Mehdi was in that point. Like, I'll never forget, like, the gauntlet runners, I guess you can call them. And like, they were always in, there was like those guys fighting at every show. Like, you know what I mean?
And you see each other every other weekend. It was like, and like you said, you kind of explain it like, he has a high ceiling when he's on, he has a low ceiling when he's off. And we've seen it to where he's moved back, going, pushing Vitor in Miami last year to, being off and being in a second call out at, I believe, Tampa Pro, when Mehdi won last year. I mean, you see the difference between where you could fall if you are off. And that's why Ariel kind of preaches the peak and how important it is. And it can make a physique 10% better, or it can make a physique 50% worse, doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. And that's why you got to watch on it. And I know he was having some personal issues. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on here and he'll be able to talk about it. But it seems like he's got everything worked out, and it showed in his physique. It really showed in his physique this week. And now it was a better presentation of the size that he did add, of all that work, because he went into that off season. We weren't able to see it because he was either flat or spilled over. It's kind of hard to tell at St. Pete, but now you could really see the fullness in his chest that has came up. His arms improved. His shoulders have always been pretty strong, but they're pretty much in sequence with his bicep. His back came up a lot. I did notice he was pinching at prejudging. But that's probably because of how dry he is. And anybody that has been remotely close to being that dry or just dry in general knows how it is to be all kinked up on stage. But you know, we're all happy for you. We're all happy
Hey,
for you,
brother.
Deke. So I know he watches the channel, and I'd love to get him on here and have him talk.
Congratulations, brother. Well deserved. All right, Cutz. Before we get out,
Yeah.
I have to ask you, man. This is like one of those shows where you have two guys in the show.
I've been waiting for this
I
one.
have three.
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 Okay. Wait, who's the third?
Michael Augustino.
Oh, Michael's doing it.
Oh,
Fuck you.
baby.
All right. I love
He
Mike.
just sent me his update right now, and I think I know it's his tightest he's ever been. So he's always kind of
Michael.
talking to me, and for his age and still making, and I don't mean this in a negative way, like his age, like he's older, but for guys to make strides like they're in their early 20s and in their peak, like we talked about Stephen Cow being in his peak, what he's doing at his age and as far as being in the sport for as long as he is and still improving, not just month after month, but show after show in a short span is incredible. And I tell him this all the time. I'm like, dude, you are, you know, you're definitely a guy that's being recognized at these shows. You know, he's definitely coming up. I remember when he beat Dan at Tri-City and
Mhm.
he got into his first top 5, I believe. And it's like, you know what? He may not have the most size on his frame, you know, because he is an older guy and these new guys coming up just very, very dense, but he's holding his own with a lot of these guys, and he controls what he needs to control.
Yeah, and he makes the manifest shorts look really good. Okay, now back to what we were saying. You have two guys who are likely front runners in winning this show. So, with that being said, do you just same thing, coach as you normally would, or do you ever look at a lineup saying, in order to beat this person, we have to play the fuller game or the tighter game, or is it just try to nail the peak perfectly?
No, I don't think about that. I don't try and game plan for, oh, this guy's gonna show up and you need to be like this so he could be. I don't think about that because, for me it's all about the individual and is to chase after their best, you know. So it's all about just peaking them. I just want to peak them. I want Bhuwan to be better than last week. I want Zach to be the best he can, especially with, his pec tear that he had recently.
It's crazy.
Um, he looks amazing. Just letting you know, like,
Did
Yeah,
he
he
give you
does.
the news, Ariel? Did he talk to you
yeah,
today?
yeah, he told
Okay.
me,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Is that something we can share or no?
Yeah. I actually
yeah,
talked to him
He's on our
earlier.
live. Yeah.
So he messaged me and he was like damn near in tears. He's like, I was talking to him the other day. For me, he's my front runner. There's no bias. He's a good friend of mine. For me, he's a front runner. And the main reason why is his core is absolutely out of this planet, specifically the obliques. His back has came up immensely. He's a guy that was like me to where it's like, oh, no back and immense physique. And we have a very similar look as far as not physically, but as far as like the front to back ratio. When his front comes out, it's like, whoa, he could hold his own and has one of the craziest fronts. But when it comes to back, it's underwhelming. Now it's caught up enough. His front is still going to be his main pose, but it's caught up enough. Now, a few weeks ago, he had a pec tear. He made a post. He was, really upset about it. And I was the first one to reach out to him and say, hey, man, I've been through this, not specifically in prep, but I know what it's like to be so close to something, have it taken away, and feel like the world is literally shattering in front of you, especially when he's worked so hard. And I know him and Kelly were trying to have a baby. And, another positive thing, they did get some eggs and everything is good on that end. So, it is all falling together. But then you have something like this, good news and then bad news kind of being bittersweet. But today he had a doctor's appointment. They went over the MRI, and yes, there's still a slight tear, but it's not torn off the bone. And it's definitely something that isn't necessarily going to require surgery. So that was one thing that he was worried about. Now, like I said, I have him as a front runner. I do believe that he has the best chance of qualifying for the Olympia in this lineup. It's not crazy big show, crazy big lineup. It's definitely a show that was strategized, and I'm glad that he stuck to it. Now, him winning this, qualifying him for the O, he wouldn't necessarily need a surgery now that he has these results. So he was just super happy about that. And, he's a very humble guy. He works hard in silence. He sends me updates. I love being able to talk to him, and he's very receptive. He listens. He's a really, really good Southern guy. The Southern people, they're just a little bit different, but he's just a good guy. And, it's kind of hard to brand a downfall of anybody that's a good guy. And it's the same with a
Mhm.
lot of these guys in the lineup. Talking to Michael, talking to Bhuwan, they're very humble, good guys, and just unbiasedly, like with what Zach has gone through. Anybody else, or most people at least, would have gave up and quit on it. Being in a calorie deficit and not being able to eat food and all that. The first thing that you probably want to do when you tear something is be like, F it, I'm done. And, I'm just going to eat my meal and I'm going to relax. And you almost kind of sulk in your sadness for a little bit. You feel miserable, like the world's falling apart. So why even do anything? But he managed to power through, and it said a lot about him as a man and, just an athlete. So with him powering through it, just, I believe it's going to pay off, and this is going to be his time. He took time off
Mhm.
and dealt with this I would say a tragedy for most of us bodybuilders. You never know. You tear a pec, you're not coming back from it. I know Chris has the experience with it. It looks different. Your chest is never going to be the same. Sometimes it bunches up, but he was blessed to not have that tear as
And
bad as
Drew,
he originally thought.
in
Yeah.
saying that, I want to give some words of encouragement to Zach. So whenever they actually cut me open for my pec tear, I made sure that I got the surgery within 3 weeks, because they say within 3 weeks you'll start developing scar tissue.
Yeah.
So for his benefit, within 3 weeks, whenever they cut me open, they said, "Hey, your pec had already sealed itself back on, basically to the bone. Like the scar tissue had already attached itself back on, and you basically would have had just a little bit of a deformed pec, but it still would have been like functional." So for
Yeah.
him, since it wasn't fully basically torn, he's going to be able to heal from that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So it's really good news for him. Whenever he told me that on the live the other day, I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God," because I would never wish that on my worst enemy, man.
No, bro. I got super emotional with him explaining it to me because, like I said, he's a really good guy, and it's always like you're being challenged. God's going to test his toughest warriors to see what they can do, and that's what I truly believe in, especially after going what I've gone through, and then Ariel as well. I know a lot of faith has been restored when you go through things to where life is put into perspective. And this even made me really watch what I do in the gym now, and I definitely train heavy. And
100%.
just the hammer strength press that he was doing, it puts a
Wait,
lot
so
of
is that the
perspective.
exercise? Is that the video?
Yeah.
Like, is
That's
it?
It's
wild.
at the end. It just looks like it almost just like he
That's when
stopped
you never
abruptly
video
and then
yourself.
he grabbed it immediately. Like it's one of those cringe videos because like, ooh, and you see it and he's pushing some heavy weight, but the form's good. And that's my point. As perfect as your form is, you never know what could happen. And that's why you got to be very smart with not just uh, performing the lift, but also the weight that you're doing. Cause you got to remember, he hasn't been this dry in years. He hasn't been in a prep in years. When you're putting this type of stress on your body, when you haven't been, this lean in a long time, it's going to be a little bit different for your body to get used to it. So it's going to
Dude,
go in a
Alex
state
is
of shock.
freaking out.
I can't watch that.
Yeah. I've watched. Yeah. I didn't plan on what the worst is when people are benching and then it falls on them.
That's what happened to me. That's what I was warming up.
Oof.
275, bro. My adrenaline was going
Well,
so
that's a
hard.
problem. Warming up with most people's
No.
max.
Stop. I did one plate, then I did 2 plates. Back then, I was benching 405 for like reps. It was nothing. But I had 275. It hit me. I went to go press it up, and dude, I had my strength there, and I'm like,
Gave
why
out.
is this weight not moving? Then all of a sudden,
It's like a car in neutral, and you're trying to rev it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it doesn't go
and
anywhere.
I threw 275 after it popped across the gym because my adrenaline went so crazy that I literally went like this and threw it. And I ran to my girl and I was like, "Yo, we got to go to the hospital. Like, I tore this shit."
That's scary, man. That's really scary. And you know what? Like you said, you don't wish this on anybody's, worst enemy. But I'm glad that he got the news. And I had a good conversation with him today. And I've been helping him a little bit, like with things that he has gone through in the prep. I think I see a lot of myself when I was talking to him, like how I was. Like I always felt like my back would I didn't have it. It is not something that I'm just screwed. Like tonight, it's kind of like a guy with high calves. Like you could definitely get them bigger, but I just thought I didn't have the shape. There's times I've talked to Ariel and getting ready for Toronto. Even Ariel's like, man, I'm really happy with the back progress because I honestly did not think that it would get like this. And that gave me a lot of encouragement. And I really took the things that Ariel has showed me and I carried that over and I was able to kind of give him some of that advice and some of the encouragement. And it's gone pretty far. And sometimes that's what you need. It's not just about coaching. It's what your coach may teach you that you could take and then kind of, apply to yourself and then give to other people that may need it. And that's what I did with him. And I think it's really, really pushing him. He thanks me a lot for, telling him, just what I've told him. And I said, thank me after you qualify.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and it's nothing against any of these other guys. You know, I love Bhuwan. If he had, you know, all his variables, like Alex says, and all checked out, like it's gonna be him 1 and 2 with Bhuwan, or Bhuwan with Zach 1 and 2. That's truly what I believe. And like I said, it's gonna be another show for Ariel. I truly believe that's going to be another show. All these guys, they look a little bit different, like you said, with the roundness and the conditioning. They all hit their peak perfectly, and I really believe that it's going to be another show for Ariel, and that's probably why he doesn't focus. And it's not even how he's wired. He focuses just on their individual best, and then the rest, it's like, you know, well, let's have a show and just enjoy it. So
Yeah,
I'm
man.
excited for this one, man. It might be a small lineup, but you know what? This one's a fun one.
I know. I hope they have a live stream. I'm literally going to order it just for Zach. I
Oh,
love Bhuwan
100%.
too. I'm going to be very clear. Like, I just, for those who don't know, I've known Zach for years. Like, I've known Zach like longer than this. So I want to see, he's one of those guys when I was coming up, he's already competing. And he was like a physique that I've always looked up to. And then we got close in terms of like coaching and stuff. Like, so we managed that amazing relationship. And then it's grown outside of that. Like you said, the Southern hospitality, when I competed at Optimum, he's always take care of me. And he's the first guy checking in on me when, you know, I'm going through it after a show. Or, so he's a genuine good guy. So,
Mhm.
and not to
Yeah.
mention, we were both going through fertility, you know, stuff. And I know he's currently going through it.
That's how we kind of started this podcast. I mean, he was
Yeah.
the first one that came to mind, but I waited to have him come up on this so then we could kind of, you know, talk about his physique and then obviously these other things. So I mean, like he told me the other day, he goes, this is going to be, you know, probably one of the best years of my life if, you know, have the baby and then qualify. I'm like, you know, it's not if, man, it's when. You know, your
And
time's coming.
his significant other is the funniest and like
Kelly.
she's awesome, bro. She's awesome, bro. She's awesome. So
Shout out to Kelly from NPR. So I don't know if she watches it, but you know, a lot of women, I guess, from the comment section, they watch it. So
it's cool,
shout out
right?
to her.
I
Yeah,
never realized how many like females watch this. Like
I never did either. Yeah.
all right, fellas, listen, Cutz. I appreciate
Wait, before you break it down, who do you
it.
got when in Vancouver? What's the top three?
Top three.
Yeah, we got to do a top three.
All right, my top three. Truth, in all honesty, I don't know the other guys, but I do have Zach winning. Um, I actually think Bhuwan has a higher ceiling, but from what I'm seeing from Zach right now, it's extremely impressive. So I just have Zach winning, Bhuwan second. I actually have Michael Augustino. Wasn't he in the top like six at DC
He
or
was fifth at DC, I believe. I
yeah,
have I have Michael Augustino third.
yeah, so do I.
I
So
really do. I think with his polish and, you know, regardless of the shape not being the best, it's still a men's physique shape with the taper. But regardless of that, I think his conditioning and him consistently getting better and also being consistent. I mean, you know, it's more work for Ara to keep peaking these guys that are already peak great.
yeah, yeah, 100%. All right, Chris, you got Bhuwan?
Nope. I got Zach. I got Michael for second, and I got Bhuwan third.
What? Your Indian fans are gonna hate you, bro.
That's fine. That's fine.
Give
Like,
a quick
You'll get
give a
first
quick
next show.
reasoning. Give a quick
Huh?
reasoning. Give a quick reasoning.
Okay. So from the time that Bhuwan last competed to next week, it's hard whenever you have Ariel right here listening to this, but
no, it's not.
I just don't think he will be as conditioned as Michael's going to be. I think Michael's going to be a little bit more complete all around, kind of like what I was saying on the live about Deke Walker winning, and everyone was like, "Oh, this other guy that was peeled," and the yellow shorts guy we were talking about. I was like, "No," I was like, "It's always about the complete physique," and I think at this show, Augustino will have a little bit more of a complete physique than Bhuwan. Now, Bhuwan will get there, I think. I just think that it's too much of a game of catch up right now to get to that point.
I do not think you're close to right. I
That's
think
fine.
Bhuwan has a men's physique look. I don't know who's judging the show, by the way.
I men's physique look. Explain kind of just a simple breakdown of what that look is to you and what it represents, like for the people that watch.
In simple, when you say men's physique look, I think oftentimes it comes down to structure. It's not much.
Mm.
It's shoulder to waist ratio. And Michael Augustino might have the best shorts on stage, but he doesn't have the best shoulder to waist ratio. So because of
But you're
that.
right, because Zach has the best shorts on stage, and you can't compete with that because Chula's the best. You
Nah,
can't beat with customizable shorts, no matter how cool your design is. You
Hey,
know,
I
the
told
people
you, Alex,
watching,
he's
they
taking a
don't know what
shot.
it feels like. They don't know what it feels like. You know, that quality, it don't matter
you're
for the
right.
people that are
You're
viewing
right.
it.
You're right. They don't know what it feels like, but as soon as they touch it, it's different. It's just
But they're
different.
not going to be touching it because Chula's prices are better.
No, they're not. No, they're not. And if they are, because it's cheaper, but they're still not. Go ahead. Check the
Well, yeah,
prices.
at least they have a custom option because they can make exactly what you have.
Yeah, but no, let me not be mean. Hey, Chula, you doing your thing, but I'm gonna be at
And
the
you
start.
can't beat a giveaway. We do giveaways too. So like, comment, share.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, you know what to do. Manifest. Let's go. You already know. All right, seriously, Cutz, thank you, brother. Seriously, thank you for
Yeah.
helping. I know you're crazy busy, but I also say this every time you're on. I think the world needs an insight. I think you're one of those guys who doesn't necessarily need your flowers, but you also deserve them. And I want to be the opportunity or give you the opportunity to do just that. Chris, for those of you who don't know, Chris actually walked into my house earlier and saw the baby little thing on my
Yeah.
thing. So I had an opportunity to talk to Chris a little bit more. And, Chris, I appreciate you coming in, allowing me just to kind of vent my mind out.
That's cool.
And-
Awesome.
Wait, real quick, real quick.
yeah.
Hey, Alex, I just want to thank you, man, for all the love. I mean, you guys all show me a lot of love in this podcast, and it truly does mean a lot. Like you guys really do hype me up. It adds a little bit of pressure, but because I have to like pretty much perform and all that. But I try my best not to think about it and block the noise. But these past 2 days, I've been getting a whole lot of love, and it's it's almost like I don't. This is terrible to say. It's almost like I died or something. Like people are just showing all this love. I'm like, dude, I'm still here. But no, seriously, it's just crazy, and I just try not to let it get to my head. But I really do appreciate you guys for reals.
Of course,
You
man.
earned it, man. You earned it.
Yeah, seriously. And I hope you, like I talked about, man, I hope you get a second to take in all the years doing, man, because you're sacrificing a lot for it. Whether
Yeah, absolutely.
people see it or they don't, you're sacrificing a lot for it. So I hope you realize all that sacrifice is paying off, and we see it, bro. We're proud of you. Whether it's from a fan, from a client's perspective, whatever it is, man. You got people out here rooting you on.
And you
Yeah.
make it look easy, Ariel. It's
Also,
not easy, but you make it look easy. And that's the biggest thing. And I know you enjoy it, even when there's times that stress you out and whatnot. And it's going to be interesting at the Olympia. I had this conversation with Maria the other day. It's like, how is he going to manage all these guys? You know what I'm saying? But I know you're going to find a way and you're preparing yourself for it. And like you said, like it never stops. Even after the Olympia, I know you're going to probably have guys that want to jump into something they already qualified, get out of the way for 2026. So, I mean, just it's constantly pushing you and setting the bar a little bit higher, kind of like Goku in Dragon Ball Z. Every time he loses, he goes in that hyperbolic time chamber. He's always getting that extra work. He's pushing himself as strong as he is. There's always somebody stronger, and he's pushing to get better. And it's honestly the same mindset that you kind of have. You're always pushing yourself. You're never comfortable with anything. Even the difficult things. You're becoming comfortable with that, and then you just push the level of difficulty a little bit further, and you're coming out on top and learning more, and then your athletes appreciate all that you do. I do, and I know that
Thank
Alex
you.
does, Chris does, Aaron does. We all do. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't speak for everybody individually, but we all think the same way because you give us a lot of confidence.
oh, yeah.
You give us a lot of confidence. You bring us in the best shape of our life, and this is a very, very difficult game. And you teach us a lot, not just as a bodybuilding coach, but about life. And you're not somebody that preaches, but you've opened my eyes to a lot of different things as well, restored my faith. And you've always been there. As busy as you are, you've always been there for me. So from me to you, I appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you.
All right, fellas. Until the next episode, appreciate y'all.
All right, guys.
Like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff.
All right.